That's why I brought the children you want. There you are. In Africa here, even by the age of 4, you learn how to fight. This is our tradition. If you don't know, fight with sticks, with a spear, with arrows. That's the tradition. So if you are trying to think that this may disorient them psychologically and so on, that is not the case. They are never deployed until the right age, but they learn the skills of warfare.
To a layman, it would sound both insane and ridiculous, having to believe that 41 men armed with only 27 guns could possibly begin a struggle and in the end manage to overcome a sitting government, one which had been in power for at least 3 years. This is because with only 27 guns and 41 people against a gallant government force armed with the latest ammunitions and skilled war veterans, the results of such an attack could only be negative, especially in a situation where the rebels have no intelligence at all, as the case was with the NRA forces.
We were hoping that we would capture arms in Kabamba when we attacked, because those were guns we had kept there after the Fronasa War, after the 1979 war.
General Tumwine, in the negotiations with the guards at the quarter guard, I think they didn't understand each other. There was a misunderstanding which we didn't know where it originated, but at least General Tumwine fired the bullet. And when he fired this bullet, the corporal, the Tanzanian corporal who was guarding the Amra, rushed into the Amra. Kwa hiyo, kwa mfano Karuma, karibu siku 10, tuko karibu pale, tunasonga pole pole, mpaka adui mwenyewe anachoka.
But this was not to be. They beat all odds and claimed the victory. Sadly, only 11 of the 41 NRA warriors who attacked Kabamba barracks still live. These include incumbent Yoweri Museveni, who led the struggle, General Eli Tumwine, who fired the first bullet at Kabamba that started off the war, Colonel Fred Mwesigye, a former commander of several units in the army, General Paul Kagame, the Rwandan president, Brigadier Andrew Rutaya, General Salim Saleh, also known as Kaleba Kandwanaho, Andrew Kangaho, Colonel Julius Chihandi, Guderia Chakabali, and Jackson Mchunguzi.
Juu ya kupambana na Obote, lakini mpango ndio ilikuwa mbaya.
Colonel George Mwesigye, Andrew Kangaho, Jackson Mchunguzi, Tofagwa. Many died, by the way, of those with whom we started. Like those are the 27 or the 41. Those who died, those who were injured, those who suffered, did not suffer for nothing.
Ikode was in my unit in Nkuruma. Suicide, we attacked Kabamba together. There was in Dayondi.
Yeah, I believe that they died for a justifiable cause. It's been betrayed, but that doesn't negate the issue of them having died for a cause that they believed in, which we all believed in, which to me I think was a correct cause.
Only 3 of these got the rank of Major General when formal ranks were introduced in 1988, and these were Yoweri Museveni, Eli Tumwine, and the late Fred Rwigema. Other than Andrew Rutaya and Andrew Kangaho, who was then 15 years old, the other men were highly trained and experienced fighters, all of who had either served in the front for National Liberation Struggle or the Uganda National Liberation Army.
We had a cause. It's not to just hold guns or what, but there was a cause.
There were a number of contradictions, there's no doubt about that. But we had capability to manage those internal contradictions because we still had open meetings, open forum where we would discuss.
Profound note, however, about the NRA struggle is that after the Kabamba attack, where the fighters managed to harvest over 600 rifles, the struggle was joined by several other fighters who, together with the 41, managed to sustain the war for 5 years in the bush. But what could have kept the struggle going for all those years without retaliation from unit commanders?
I know that we survived because the population protected us, because they are the ones who give us food, they are the ones who give us intelligence information, they are the ones who shift us from one location to another because we didn't know.
According to General Eli Tumwine, a Swahili phrase, Mzee anapanga, literally meaning the old man is strategizing, while referring to Museveni, kept the majority of the fighters focused, though the dictatorial policies and abuse of human rights then were also a major push factor for the fighters.
The famous word that I think kept everybody going was Mzee anapanga. Even when there were difficulties, you would tell the soldiers that don't worry, we know, trust the president, trust our leader. By then, he's organizing, Mzee anapanga.
What he tells you today, you'll prove that it will be correct, even after 20 years. Once he says this is correct, it will be correct. Once this is wrong, you'll prove it is wrong, even if you don't agree with him now.
The biggest challenge the NRA fighters had, according to Major General Mugisha Muntu, was lack of numbers, ammunition, food, and intelligence equipment to coordinate with each other in the bush during any attack on their bases.
You'd get an intelligence network, people riding on bicycles, moving from one point to another, relaying information to the people who were the intelligence cell where we were.
On January 10, 1985, over 15,000 NRA fighters, including most of the top commanders, like Chairman of the High Command, Yoweri Museveni, the Commander of Mobile Force, Salim Saleh, Commander of the 1st Battalion, Pecos Kutesa, Commander of the 3rd Battalion, the late Patrick Lumumba, and others were attacked by UNLA soldiers under the command of the ruthless Colonel John Ogole. Several lives were lost here, though according to those still surviving, the cause was worth dying for.
We were organizing the people and we were convincing the population. You know, it is, some of you think it is easy, but it was difficult, you know, to tell people that you please join us. Even if you die, you will die for a good cause. That would be after educating the people.
We had very few intellectuals who joined from Makerere, the General Muntu, General Tumukunde, you know, Brigadier Tumukunde, and many others, let's say Rwanga, all those came, they were about to photo with them. Others have died. They joined us, and it was a very good boost. They became political commissars, they became intelligence officers, some became commanders.
During the struggle, the NRA fighters came up with the 10 points program, which they said would guide the leadership once they came to power. Though according to Mugisha Muntu, some of them later became disillusioned after the party failed to live to some of these points.
I think gradually as the president became more and more confronted with the issue of having to move out of the political system and operate from outside of it, and new people come up in leadership, I think he failed to meet that challenge front on.
So I think it's a gross betrayal, both of the politics that informed the founding of NRA, and certainly there is gross mismanagement and misdirection of the UPDF.
I don't think we have lost focus. It would be very unfair for anybody in Uganda to say that NRM has lost focus. These comrades of ours who have decided to leave lack discipline and they lack patience.